The following broadcast is an alternative video game programme. Viewers should prepare themselves for games-related jokes, nonsense and general hijinks.
From the alternative world of video games today, be that Lone Gunman in JFK Reloaded, Onimusha vs Ninja Gaiden, the making of the iconic Space Invaders, and lithe young men grapple together once more in our football championship. Hi viewers. You know, I really love housing estates like this. I grew up on one myself, I'm proud to say, and I still like to return regularly to ground myself in reality. Even though, of course, these days I do my banking in Geneva. Got another one of your letters here, thanks as always. This one is from Genevieve Smith from Barking, and she writes, "Dear When Games Attack, I spend most of my time playing real-time strategy games, and I'm now of a sufficient standard where I feel confident enough to lead the armed forces of the West in a military adventure against rogue terror states. Who do I get in touch with?" Well, funny you should ask that, Genevieve, because you could join the When Games Attack Club. Yes, for £9.99 you'll get a hairy badge with moving eyes, a special members wallet and a newsletter with all the numbers you need. Thanks for writing. Today, we're digging up the graveyard of old consoles and reanimating the corpses of what we consider to be the top 5 worst gaming machines ever. At number 5, the Sega Saturn. This machine sent Sega spiralling into a black hole. Next to the PlayStation, the Saturn was fatter, uglier, overpriced and technically inferior. So while the PlayStation's 3D graphics were impressive, the Saturn's were downright embarrassing. Conversions of top Sega arcade games like Daytona USA were criminal. Check out that bodywork. With its funds dried up and no one to play with, the Saturn has resorted to the most desperate of all measures. Just make sure you point and laugh. At number 4, it's the Atari Jaguar. Released back in 1993, the Jaguar claimed to have 64-bit power. What graphical wonders were gamers going to see? Exactly the same ones they already had. Obviously, the technological jump wasn't as amazing as Atari would have us believe. In fact, many question whether the Jaguar was actually 64-bit at all. Cheated by the hype, the world left the Jaguar out in the cold. If you see it on the street, have the heart to spare it a penny. Find out what's at numbers 3 and 2 in our worst console roundup later in the show. They say you can take the boy out the council estate, but you can't take the council estate out of the boy. Though I know for a fact there's a Harley Street doctor who, after a rigorous course of electroshock therapy, can come pretty close. Why, these days I can even drink dry French white wine. Some more secrets revealed now in today's Behind the Game. In 1978, planet Earth endured an alien invasion. These strange beings weren't interested in dominating humankind or stealing natural resources. They came in search of one thing: small change. A quarter of a century ago, the video games industry was just starting out. American company Atari's Pong was the original daddy, and it ruled the roost. Meanwhile, over in Japan, slot machine company Taito set up a development team to take on the Americans at their own game.
At that time, people were beginning to use microcomputers in order to make games. I had decided that I wanted to take that feeling of satisfaction you got in block games and replace the blocks with some kind of characters. And from there, the idea of making Space Invaders was born.
The biggest challenge for the Taito engineers was the prehistoric graphics capability of 70s hardware.
At first, the characters weren't invaders. In the beginning, they were tanks. But at that time, it was very hard to simulate the movement of tanks on computers. So we tried other things. We tried making human being-style characters, but we decided we couldn't make very nice human characters either. Then we realized that if we used aliens from outer space, they didn't have to look or move like human beings. For the sound, we decided to use a low, deep noise that sounds like human footsteps or a beating heart. At that time, sound technology was not like it is today, and we just had a kind of zun-zun noise. But I think we did very well for the technology that was available to us. From when I first had the idea to make it, it took about 10 months, less than a year. But about half of that time was spent developing and building the computer. The outcome of my work exceeded all my expectations. I didn't think it would be so successful. I think that artistically it was very strong. I feel really satisfied to have taken a computer and made a game. And even I was surprised at how popular it eventually became.
We scoured the Premiership and the Championship in search of the best Pro Evolution players to stage the world's first virtual football competition. 8 pros had to compete through group rounds and knockout stages until one of them has earned the right to be crowned the When Games Attack Football Champion.
Everyone in Group A's played a game, and Alexis Nicolas is top with 3 points. Joint second, Lee Sharp and Scott Fitzgerald with a point each. Darren Curry has nought. Match 3 of When Games Attacks Challenge de Football. Darren Curry against Lee Sharp. Darren now lost the first game narrowly against your Brighton teammate Alexis. This is a must-win for you then, or at least a point.
Big game. I'm looking for a big improvement.
Yeah, although you did show, you got to go back from Raoul. It's something you can build on.
Yeah, something I can build on. I think France were toying with me a bit, so hopefully I can do better in this game.
Yeah. Now, Sharpie, you got a point from your first game. A thrilling 0-0 draw that it was, but you came close. If I remember correctly, Rooney was through at one point. And have you had a chance to sharpen up your skills in the interim?
Yeah, I've had a little chat with Wayne, and I think he's going to start pulling the trigger a bit earlier.
Yeah.
We're looking for a tighter game from the defence as well.
Yeah. Yeah, and so you're going to start with Rooney, no room for Heskey?
No, not today's game, no.
He was saying off camera, he said, make sure Heskey's not on my team, mate. I'm sure Sven and lots of England fans say the same as well. All right, well listen guys, best of luck. Like I say, this is it's a kind of a must-win for both players, but especially Darren. If he doesn't get at least a point from this, then he'll be going back to Brighton. Join us after the break to see what happens. Before we go, let's catch up with 3 and 2 in our top 5 of the worst consoles ever. At number 3, the 3DO. This 32-bit CD-based monstrosity tried and failed to be an all-in-one entertainment system. With a $700 launch price, it was off to a shaky start, and the games didn't improve matters. This was the time of Sillywood, where the worst people in the games industry and the worst people in the movie industry decided to combine their efforts and create the worst games of all time. Night Trap represented the pinnacle of their achievements. 3DO, we salute you in our own special way. At number 2, it's Nokia's disastrous N-Gage. Though the idea of an all-in-one portable game system, MP3 player and mobile phone sounded good, the reality was very different. Apart from offering second-rate conversions of some otherwise solid titles, the N-Gage's chief weakness was its awful design. Because the speaker was built into the side, making a phone call involved jamming the mess against your head like a swollen taco. The N-Gage was left no choice but to stare into the abyss. What a cruel world. Join us in part 2 to find out what was the worst console ever made. Coming up in the Alternative Video Game Show, try your hand at making history, Onimusha goes up against Ninja Gaiden, and what's the worst console ever? But first, it's time to join Stevie Morgan in the commentary box for Lee Sharp's England against Darren Curry's Spain.
Thanks, Dominic, and you find me today in an effervescent mood, it has to be said, not only because I'm anticipating an England victory here today, but also because Caroline has promised to join Dominic and myself in the communal bath after the show. I've brought my rubber duck along with me especially. It's not as big as Dominic's, but it's personality which counts, or at least that's what I read in Just 17. But Spain! Showed their mettle there, and Lee Sharp knows that Spain have come here to mean business. It could have hit the bar. Let's have a look, Lee. Yeah, sort of. But anyway, back to the game. And now it's Lampard, who is denied. Half-time whistle blows. It's England 0, Spain 0. Serious faces there on our two players. They know a lot rests on the outcome of this game, and it's Raul who's denied there. And now Gary Neville attempts to show us his flair. Never a good idea, Gary. Just pass the ball as soon as you get it. Morientes is goal hungry, but the famine will have to continue for him. What was that?
Wrong button!
Wrong button? You're on the wrong show, Sharpie! Now it's Lampard. Can England get ahead? No! Sharpie, come on! The expectations of a nation rest upon your shoulders. And the full-time whistle goes. Neither team could break the deadlock. It's England 0, Spain 0.
Now, as a player, Lee, you're always more famed for your build-up rather than your finishing ability, and it showed in this game today, didn't it?
Well, I just don't know what happened to my forwards today. You know, we dominated the game, but I don't know. They've just got. I don't know. They seem to be scared to score for some reason.
Like in your first game when Rooney was through, Owen had a particularly great chance. The ball was, and he decided to pass instead of.
I don't know whether he's trying to help his young teammate out, Rooney, and get him on the score sheet, but no, they need to start pulling the trigger themselves.
I like the way you're absolving yourself of all responsibility, almost as if the players themselves had their own independent free spirits and it wasn't you controlling them with a joystick.
There's not a lot I can do when they're out there.
That's quality. That's good. This guy's great. If only he was such a lethal finisher on the game, it would have been a massive goal fest. Okay, now, well, Mr. Curry, you're still in there. You got 1 point now. 4 points is normally that magic number you're looking for to get through in a kind of, in a 4-team group. So you'll need results to go your way, but you're still in there.
Yeah, happy with a point. Didn't play well again.
It was a shocking game, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Overall, well, not one for the fans, was it?
Definitely not one for the fans, but we'll take the point.
Yeah, cool. I had all the highlights of a series of neighbours, and that one really did. Okay, one match to go in for these guys, but it all depends on what happens in the next game, because as we can see from the table, Mr. Curry's still nesting at the bottom of the solitary point. Sharpie's now got 2 points there. But if you look at the top of the table, you see Alexis there on 3 points. Both these guys will be hoping he humps Scott Fitzgerald next time for them to have any chance of progress. Join us next time to see exactly what degree of humping we shall spy.
One says black, the other says white. One says left, the other says right. They never can agree. The Xbox, PlayStation, PC. Time to cook their fuse to bed as Queenie and Cousin head-to-head.
Howdy viewers, welcome to another head-to-head where we take 2 games and pit them against each and... Hang on. What are you up to this week? Oh yeah, you're running a protection racket? And you want me to pay you money every week? Otherwise you're going to beat me up? Yeah, right. As if I've got anything to worry about from 2 puppets like you. Yeah, I don't think so. Take it. No, take it, please. Thank you. Okay, right. On with the games. Off to your boxes. Today the girls are wearing their Oriental Action Adventure skirts. Cuddly is putting forward Ninja Gaiden. Up against her, Queenie has gone for Onimusha 3. Round 1. Graphics.
One of the most impressive aspects of Onimusha 3 are the marvellous environments. Travelling between 20th century Paris and feudal Japan, gamers encounter glowing palaces, icy oceans, and even a slimed Eiffel Tower. Ninja Gaiden doesn't fail to make jaws drop either. Imaginatively designed characters and monsters populate a world of ruined villages, glimmering rock pools, and walkways complete with beautiful lens flare. But which game do you think offers the better eye candy? %60% of the 100 gamers we surveyed said Ninja Gaiden had the better graphics. Round 1 goes to Ninja Gaiden. 2 rounds to go.
Congratulations, Cuddly, you've won round 1 with Ninja Gaiden. Although technically, it's not really a lot to do with you and more to do with the Xbox's processing power. But maybe I'm splitting hairs. Round 2. Story.
The epic style of Onimusha 3's plot has won many fans. With a story spanning hundreds of years and involving characters as diverse as a feudal warrior and a Parisian cop, the narrative certainly doesn't lack ambition. Ninja Gaiden opts for a more traditional setup. Playing as a noble warrior, you must destroy malevolent forces who are hell-bent on stealing the Dark Dragon Sword, the most potent source of evil known to man. But which game do you think draws you in more? In our survey, 52% of you said Onimusha 3 had the more compelling story. Onimusha draws even in round 2. 1 round to go.
Well, that was never in any doubt at all, was it, Queenie? Onimusha 3's got it all. Time travelling, Paris, that funny bloke from Leon. Okay, it's evenly poised, one apiece. Who's going to win the final round? Gameplay.
Despite its heavy plot leanings, Onimusha 3 delivers what all gamers deep down are after. Old-fashioned action-adventure gameplay. Whether sword-slashing, firing machine guns, conjuring spells or solving puzzles, Onimusha 3 never forgets it's a game. Fanboys claim Ninja Gaiden really makes them feel like a ninja. An array of dazzling moves like lifting your enemies in the air and hurling a hail of shuriken stars into their chests can be unleashed with ease thanks to the natural feeling controls. But which title gets your adrenaline pumping more? 62% of those surveyed said Ninja Gaiden had the better gameplay. Ninja Gaiden takes the 3rd round, making Ninja Gaiden our overall winner at 2 rounds to 1.
Oh, Queenie, no, beaten by Ninja Gaiden. And I bet you don't even know what a Gaiden is. Neither do I. Something butch, probably. You've got a forfeit as well. Shall we bring in Cuddly? Hey, Queenie, how'd you like them apples? She can't hear me. Join us next time for another head-to-head. Now it's time to find out what is the worst console ever. But first, a recap on the sorry souls who weren't quite rubbish enough to make the top spot. At number 5, Sega's biggest muff-up, the Saturn. At 4, weaker than a lame kitten, it's the Atari Jaguar. At number 3, for rich people with no taste, the 3DO. And at number 2, the unengaging N-Gage. But the number 1 worst console ever is Nintendo's Virtual Boy. In 1995, Nintendo gave the world its take on VR gaming. Just stare into the goggles and get ready for an unparalleled gaming experience. It was an experience many would never fully recover from. Not only were the games awful, but the Virtual Boy actually caused physical distress, and Nintendo even advised children under 7 not to play the system or else risk eye damage. Thanks for making us puke, Virtual Boy. Let us now return the favour. We don't always have to go to Japan or America to find interesting stories for features. Why, sometimes they're under our nose right here in lovely old Blighty. So I get to stay here and get more irony, but less of a tan. Those of you who remember some of my old shows might remember a fella called Kirk. Big hairy guy, always mucking around. Well, today we thought we'd come to Stirling to find out what he's been up to. Not because he's my best mate or anything, no, because these days he doesn't even return my calls. But the fact is, he's actually doing some quite interesting and intelligent things with video games. Hey, buddy!
I don't think so.
Oh, you've changed. Hey, here he is! Here is Kirky's office! Ooh, what's all that stuff in there?
Oh, yeah! Don't touch anything, will you?
Sorry. So, before we start, quick game of Pro Evo 4. Hey, go on.
Can we just do the interview and get it over with and get the work done, okay?
Yeah, alright.
Just sit down.
Alright.
Do your job.
Since John F. Kennedy was assassinated 41 years ago, there have been countless documentaries, miniseries, and even a feature film about his murder. But games company Traffic has come up with a new twist on the theme, an online recreation called JFK Reloaded.
JFK Reloaded then, what is it?
It's an interactive reconstruction of the Kennedy assassination. It's your chance to play the events of the Kennedy assassination again, but this time you get to play the role of Lee Harvey Oswald.
Now, you've got to pay to play this one?
You do have to pay, yeah.
How much?
It's $9.99. What we're doing is we're running a competition for the person that can most accurately match the results as reported by the Warren Commission. So we're going to award a prize of up to $100,000 to the person that gets basically the highest score in terms of recreating the actual bullets.
Tell us about some of the research that's gone into JFK Reloaded.
Well, I've been thinking about it for a number of years, and I've been researching the event itself for a number of years. And the team that we're working with are obsessive researchers. The parameters of the game require, and the technology that we're using require, that there's certain liberties taken, and we've tried to pick up on as many clues as we can from the information, the actual facts, but there are still things that nobody is absolutely certain of. The actual process of manufacture has been reasonably quick, certainly quick compared to the development of video games. We're talking about taking a moment, and normally when you build a video game, you're having to build a whole universe, and we're actually looking at one scene and then replaying it in lots of different ways. But I think we've put together the actual development in about 3 months.
Do you think, though, that there is a market for these reality-based games, and why?
Something like the Kennedy assassination, when it happened 41 years ago, it's been viewed in every type of media since then. There's been the movie, there's been CGI reconstructions of it previously, and anything but a board game. This is a natural extension of media. This is just the same as making a documentary, except that we're using video game technology to do it. And to me, that makes perfect sense.
Saddam Hussein, the butcher of Baghdad,
Short online pay-to-play reality games seem to be an emerging trend and include some rather dubious operators like Kuma War, a company that flogs games based on events in the current Iraq conflict. I wonder if any of them have ever been in a war.
Look, Dad, I know he's a has-been, right? I'm just going to do this one thing to publicise the game. That's why I'm doing it.
Hey, who are you on the phone to, mate?
Hey.
You're sorting something out for later on.
I'm on the phone to America, Don. Just
No, but you're sorting something out for later on.
Sorry.
No,
Dom,
but what?
It's important. Just go back in there and just wait for us, all right?
All right. I'll find a good bar for later on. Yeah.
Great
all right,
idea.
Mate, cool. Okay, I'll do that.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I know.
All right, so I'm outside Kirk's office now. I've finished our work. I'm just waiting for it to come out, and then we're going to party like the old days. I can't wait. You can try out JFK by going to jfkreloaded.com. Good luck, you can win $100,000. And I think it's great. I'm really, really proud of the guy. To see one of my friends grow up a little bit, and it's brilliant. And he's still got time for his old pal. Still got time to whip it up. Great guy. Brilliant. He'll probably be out any second now. He's probably just in the toilet or something, doing his hair. Well, that's it for another When Games Attack. I'm off to stand menacingly on street corners wearing Burberry and scowling at people until it's time for me to go in for my tea. Until the next time, bye-bye.